Chelsea 2, Newcastle 2. An absolutely game of two halves. First half, my goodness me. Second half, way, way better. This is Chelsea Aunty. Welcome to These Three Things, reacting to the game between Newcastle and Chelsea at St. James Park. So, first thing I'm going to talk about is that the first half, it was the game of two halves. That first half was absolutely dismal for Chelsea. I don't know what was going on. The midfield was not working. The defense was at sixes and sevens. And that guy, Voltemade, was having a time of his life. He was roaming up and down that 18-yard box, knowing that anytime he was going to get a goal and he was going to score. For the first goal, Fofana was to blame for that one. He was behind Voltemade, and Voltemade just scooped that ball into the net. I don't blame Sanchez. There was nothing that he could do about that one. And Fofana, come on. This is a cross and you're behind a striker. What do you think the striker is going to do? The second goal, also in that box, our defense, Gusto, he tries, but he got injured in the process. He falls down. Then there's Chalaba and Fofana at sixes and sevens. And then that guy again, Voltemade, he just slides the ball into the net again. 2-0. And I'm thinking, this guy is going to get a hat trick. What is going on? The second bit I'm going to talk about was the midfield. Every ball that was passing through the midfield, our midfield was second to it. Newcastle always first to it. Nothing was working in midfield between Caicedo and James. I was looking at them and saying, where are these guys? Get a control of the midfield, because all the balls are passing on. By the time the balls got into their strike force, there is nothing that the defense is doing, because they too are struggling with the onslaught from Newcastle. Every single person on that pitch, except maybe for Sanchez, every single player on that pitch in the first half was playing second fiddle to Newcastle. Newcastle were that good in the first half. I almost thought that they were going to score maybe 3 or 4 goals before we hit halftime. So the fact that Sanchez was actually making some saves us. So I'm not blaming him even for the goals that went in. That first half, I was panicking. Honestly, I thought Newcastle was going to have a field day. The third thing I'm going to talk about now is the fight back. In the second half, it was like it's two different teams. In the second half, Chelsea were way, way much better. And you could see the fight was there. You could see the drive was there. You could see the aggression was there. They were getting first to the ball. They were stringing passes. In the first half, I think it's only like once or twice I actually counted Chelsea stringing 4 or 5 passes together in the first half. Meantime, Newcastle was stringing passes together. At one time, I counted 9 passes Newcastle was stringing together. And we were nowhere near that in the first half. But in the second half, it was the other way around. Chelsea were stringing passes along. The wings were getting further and further. And also the midfield was a little bit tight. Palmer went out. And then Enzo Fernandez came in. And the midfield was a little bit tight that way. And the results came then because Chelsea scored 2 goals. I'm happy for João Pedro for his goal as well, because I was beginning to think, what is wrong with João Pedro? So I'm glad he got that goal. It was a good goal as well. It was a good goal as well. An assist from Sanchez. He controlled that ball very well, and then he turned, and then he only had one thing on his mind: rushed to the goal and slot that past Ramsdale. 2 goals for Chelsea. Happy days. I'm happy with this. 2-2, but the first half, oh my goodness. I don't want to talk about that. The second half, way better, way better. And then we got our result. Those are my 3 things reacting to this Newcastle 2, Chelsea 2. First of all, it was a game of 2 halves. Secondly, the midfield in the first half was absolutely nowhere to be seen. Non-existent for Chelsea. The third thing was that the fight back was superb. Fight back, and we got our 2 goals to equalize, and then it's a draw. 1 point from St. James Park, I'm not complaining. It was a good fight from Chelsea. So upwards and onwards. Happy days. So wherever you are, thank you for watching. I'm praying that you're safe, and please take care of yourself. Up the Chelsea, as always.